Before you start, I always think it's a good idea to film and photograph everything. You know, when you're a DIY and you don't do this on a daily basis, it's good to know things like the orientation, bolt and nut, things like that, so that when you're putting it all back together and you forget, then you can refer to your photos. I do always recommend putting a jack underneath here to hold it in place whenever you're unbolting things, so that things don't unexpectedly drop, hit you, or break things. For example, you've got brake lines here, you've got probably speed sensor line there. Those things will need to be probably disconnected and moved out of your way. This would be a great idea right now to get some penetrating oil spray on all the different connectors that I might be loosening, because they all look a little bit rusty. And for a Texas truck, this has way more rust than you would expect. And it's mainly because I did drive it. We had some snowy days and they did salt the roads, and you know, I wasn't thinking, oh, maybe I should rinse it off. So some of this damage probably happened very early on in the truck's life, and then, you know, it hasn't really been driven in the snow since. You do want to make note of these, because they are going to affect your wheel alignment. So you do want to make a note of where those are before you unbolt that. And not a bad idea is to take note of the routing of these, because when you remove this piece, it's real easy to get it tangled up to where it doesn't match the routing, and then you're unbolting things to get it back. So basically your speed sensor comes on top and your brake line goes under, although the clamp comes around. So it's confusing because it looks like it goes over, but it's just the clamp that does. The actual brake line, as you see, is underneath. Alright, I am getting lucky on this nut right there, because it is actually unthreading just with that wrench. And if you see what's underneath it, you see why I'm saying I'm lucky, because I really didn't want to have to take that off, but that'd probably be the only way to get a impact wrench around that one. So I'm very lucky that just using this was able to loosen it. Ta-da! I'm going to thread it back on a couple turns just so I don't lose it for right now. I think unbolting that and that should be fairly straightforward. Impact wrench. So yes, these are 13/16. That one's not going to go on. That one went on real easy and loosened right away. And then I still got to figure out, there's got to be a trick to opening this plastic without breaking it. That looks like that's probably around a 10mm to get that off of there. I'm hoping that just by lifting that off of there and removing that I won't actually have to disconnect anything. This one looks like it's difficult to get to on the inside of there. Alright, this looks like you pull this side out and pull up on that to get that out of there. Now there's still, I'm going to have to probably transfer that to the new upper control arm, but that's what it looks like that takes. Alright, yes, I was correct. So I just put a screwdriver in there and just kind of push out, and that pops up. Like I said, I'll still need to transfer that plastic piece. At least that's out of the way. Yes, 10mm. Alright, I got it. I had to remove this little brake line holder slash guessing that's like the ABS speed sensor, this little clip here, and then go hammer this direction to get it out. And let me tell you, that was not easy. I am worn out. That's a long bolt. Local engineers. They could have moved that a millimeter maybe, and they'd be able to pull this out of here. But, they just don't care. So I will go look at the two that I got and see if they match up, if they're interchangeable. I have no idea. I may have destroyed that hammering on it. Hard to say, but it's obviously it's shot now. I have the new one. I transferred the plastic over, however it broke when being removed, so I had to glue it. Hallelujah. So that one is correct. That one, I need to pull that out, push that under. So back to doing that. All right, I think I have everything back correctly now. So the speed sensor thingy is gonna click this plastic, try to not break. Probably meant to break. Anyway, that clicks into there. This bolts down here. It's 10 millimeter. And it's long. Lots of threads. Same thing, 10 millimeter. I can get this to click in. Maybe it goes that way. Yeah, alright. So that will go into there. When I'm done, I'm gonna wipe all this down, make sure that's not like brake fluid or something. That'd be all I need, is have it leaking brake fluid now. This one's also a 19 millimeter. I can't find a torque spec for the upper control arm ball joint. However, there's no way to get a torque wrench in here anyway, so I'm just gonna snug it up pretty much as tight as I can with this and call it a day. These are 140, and they don't specify whether or not they need to be torqued with weight on the vehicle. Okay, you can. So 140. I'll do the same thing on that one. I'll just do it off camera. That in, clip it down. I am going to be honest, it's glued down and it feels real secure, but I don't want to pull too much on it. I'll probably break it off. I'm going to go ahead and put a zip tie as additional protection there. I'd hate to be driving down the road, getting lots of vibration in here, and suddenly that pops off and maybe that line gets caught up in there and chewed up or something. So I just think, because that clip broke off in the old one, I just think it would be better to have it. This one didn't have a torque spec, so I just tightened it really tight. 140 on those. I don't know if there was, I'm sure there's a torque spec somewhere, but I just basically snugged those up. And then you see my work on there. Just like I said, it's glued down, but I want to make sure that it doesn't fall off at some point. I don't want that line getting damaged because of road vibration or whatever. I thought about it, and I better demonstrate. You should probably grease these. I don't know how much grease there is in them, but basically pump it up, try to feel if the thing is swelling. You don't want to put in so much, obviously, that they pop, but just enough to kind of fill them up.